All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner. I am in my hotel room, and I had to tell the maids outside, hey, if it gets a little loud in here, don't come in, even though I know you want to. Yeah. All right, folks. So lots of terror plots, from my understanding, are being foiled right now. And let me tell you, they're going gangbusters right now. Big attempts being foiled on the border. I have people on the border on both sides telling me, dude, we're stopping stuff that we can't believe is coming through right now. So it's only a matter of time before something slips through their fingers. That's about all the intel I can give out. That's what I know. I'm not getting like precise details or anything. I just know that stuff's coming over right now that they've never seen before, like it's been planned. And I'm hearing that a lot of terror plots have been disrupted and foiled. That doesn't mean that they all have been. So at this point in time, we all need to be vigilant and be on high alert. And this is the time right now, because why? Iran was a deep state proxy. And who's going to be the hunted right now? You know who. Look at Trump. He says, I was the hunted and now I'm the hunter. They know this. So they got to do whatever they can to disrupt what's about to come. Now that Iran has been neutralized, folks, this is the most critical and serious time within America. I cannot stress that enough. Folks, you can hit the notifications button. Please do me a favor. Help me help you. I got Bo Pony as a guest today. I'm going to read a few little things here, and then we're going to roll right into it. He's going to talk about his timelines and dates. He's a time analyst, prophetic time analyst. And we're going to talk about the 666 number that adds in with October 7th, 2023. Fast forward 666, it's August 3rd, and we're going to talk about that today. What could happen? Could the Dome of the Rock be targeted? Something crazy? We don't know. We're just going to be putting things out there, and you do your research on this. Venmo, folks, is D-Rod1977. D-Rod1977. Hopefully everyone can hear me just fine. Ringside with Nino, folks, was absolute fire, and so was the General's tent. Ringside with Nino, that's on ninoscorner.tv. It's the Black Sheep community. We all get together, war game everything together, and we talk about upcoming events, give our own opinions. We give intel, community helps, outreach, the whole thing. Everyone networks on there. Everyone loves it so far as I know. And also the General's tent, Leo Zagami. Leo Zagami was on today and last night, and it was an epic General's tent. A lot of questions answered. He's a Vatican whistleblower, so I might put that one up on Nino's Corner.tv, maybe even Rumble. I don't know, but it was a fun General's tent, and Ringside with Nino was just as fun. So they're both fun activities for us older people that don't got shit to do. Okay, thank you. When the lights go out, folks. Get your book on Amazon. I wrote that book on my iPhone in a matter of just a month with my thumb, and I had bad tendonitis. My mom's book, The Mexican Mix, about my parents, about the Rodriguez family, how they birthed Sancho. Yes. All right, folks, get your collagen. Get your collagen. As we age, our body's natural collagen production declines, leading to visible signs like thinning hair, brittle nails, joint discomfort, and worst of all, wrinkles. That's right, collagen, or the lack of it, is one of the leading causes of wrinkles and sagging skin. Unfortunately, most collagen typically found on store shelves don't provide the right type of amount of collagen necessary to combat wrinkles. But if you're ugly, nothing can help you. Not even collagen. This is why I use multi-collagen, and I'm obsessed with the results I'm seeing on my skin. Multi-collagen provides the 5 types of premium collagen that my skin needs to look more youthful. I've seen smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow. Plus, it's easily mixes with my morning coffee or tea, no clumping and zero flavor. Grab your bag now while it's 51% off at the Health with Nino. Plus, order today and also receive a free VIP Live Health and Fitness Coaching for Life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping for your order. Once again, Health with Nino, baby. Oh, yeah. How nice it is. I think my skin looks pretty good. I'm 54, I'm 47. I can't believe I'm just a couple years away from 50. I think I looked all right. Hey, I don't know about my brain cells. I wonder if that helps that. Punches to the head. I don't know. All right. X Nino Boxer. X is Nino Boxer. PatriotWear.com. Get yourself some gear. Also, ninoscorner.tv. Whew, man. Joshua Reed's up there talking about the dual regime change. Could we be seeing one not only in Iran, but secretly in Israel as well? Is that why Trump shined a light on Benjamin Netanyahu? I think it's a big possibility, folks. I think it is. I think a big possibility. I also have Mike King coming on. Mike King is coming on, I think tomorrow. Tomorrow, I also have Chris Sky. How many of you remember Chris Sky from Canada, man? He was one of the original OGs when 2020 hit. Myself, Chris Sky, we were like some of the only ones out there putting our balls on the line, getting hammered for it. And Chris Sky is a brave guy. He has a backbone. He's going to come on my show and talk about what's happening in New York City. The intel he's getting are people being told to leave New York City? You know, that certain group of people in Israel? A lot of them are fleeing New York. Why? And so a lot of stuff on social media is swirling around as well. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll figure it out together. Also, if you're on X or on Facebook, your feed will get cut. We're going to try to feed everyone over to YouTube because it helps me with the ads. Please understand that. So if you're on Facebook or on X, your feed will get cut. And you don't want to miss what Bo Pony has to say. So please take the time to come over to YouTube and join the conversation here. It helps me help you. Helps me keep going. So Joshua Reed, Mike King, Chris Sky, Trader Girl Q is coming on, talking about the Golden Gate Bridge as a potential terror hit. Also, Dr. David Martin's coming on. He's going to say on July 1st, I'm doing an interview with him, that he's uncovered documentation that says July 4th, there's something big that's going to hit America. And he's uncovered this documentation, and he's screaming from the rooftops to have a platform to come on to talk about this, and I'm bringing him on. So he's going to be discussing all of this and more, what he uncovered. And there's even words on here that I can't even say that he's going to talk about, but it'll be on .tv. And since the urgency is so much, I'm going to put that on Rumble as well. Oscar Ramirez from, I think he resides in Tijuana. Anyway, he's coming on, going to be talking about what's going on at the border. I'm sure he's hearing a lot of the same stuff I am. That guy's boots on the ground. And let me tell you, he's also a brave patriot, making a lot of moves in the patriot community. All right, folks, you might want to turn it down or turn it up. Hopefully the maids don't come in when I'm doing this. Mr. David, get us twice, Mr. David. All right, folks, here we go. I might want to turn it down or turn it up, baby. Yeah. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah. All right, folks, let's go. They got to think I'm nuts. I probably just woke up a lot of people, but, it is what it is. It's what I do. All right. So, breaking, SCOTUS. SCOTUS rules that the left radical judges cannot block or enact nationwide injunctions on birthright citizenship. Big, huge win for Trump. Winning. That's enormous. Folks, when I say that we are in the most crucial time right now, you got to believe me on this. This right now that we've neutralized Iran, the deep state has to do everything in their power to go forward with everything that there it is. What to know about the Supreme Court's birthright citizenship case. So this is a huge win for Trump, folks. So what's happening with the rise? I know a lot of you have seen this. Zahran Mamdani. Didn't they make a movie? Didn't Adam Sandler make a movie about this guy? Hairstylist or something, Zahran. What was it? Alex, do you remember what that was? With Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Is it Zoltan or Zoltan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't take anything serious. But anyway, it's almost like it is like a movie. So anyway, Zahran is the primary now for he's a mayoral candidate. And people are freaking out, and rightfully so, because why? All of this is engineered. And so we're going to have probably most likely, if nothing gets stopped, wink, wink, by 2026 for the midterms, wink, wink, then yeah, this guy has a good chance of winning. Wink, wink. But this is all engineered. The chess pieces, they're moving forward with their chess pieces to put their candidates where they need them. And a lot of screaming white liberal women showed up in droves to vote for this guy because anything against Trump is a win. So the chess pieces are in place. They may have lost the presidency to Trump, but now they're making moves strategically to take over the rest of the board. And one of them being obviously New York City. Zahran Mamdani is a prime example of what's coming. Folks, you have young white liberal women in lines. They were in lines voting for this guy. They want Sharia law. I mean, can you figure this out? Because I can't. I can't figure it out at all. Hey, anything against Trump is a win for us. So even if the candidate was to bring Sharia law, as this drama is developing, we need to stay focused and keep our eyes on the ball. Remember, Trump appointed a special prosecutor for 2020. Also, all roads lead to who? Mr. O. And I say Mr. O, you know who it is. I don't like to say his name too much on here. But it's all coming. I've been told it's all coming. The people that are paying close attention to the operation and moves being made behind the scenes, this is when things are going to get interesting right now. The time for exposing is right now. I also believe it's going to be a time of unconventional moves that will be made to look like terrorist attacks that slip through the fingers of Border Patrol. Now, I heard a lot of these people are tracked and traced. I've heard a lot of big plans have been foiled, but that does not mean all of them. So you need to be on high alert. Big, big red flags coming out. I'm telling you, folks, and I don't just, I have many different guests that come on here, but I've heard that the Border Patrol man on both sides that told me, dude, you don't even know. We are flabbergasted at what we're seeing come through here. I mean, they're on high alert. Look at the Homeland Security alert, everything. Folks, we are in critical times right now. And I'm going to bring Bo Pony on in just a second to go over all of this with his time analysis. So, breaking. Iranian media claims they foiled a false flag. And this is on social media. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. A false flag operation planned by Israel to carry out terrorist attack on U.S. soil and blame Iran for triggering a full-scale war between the United States and Iran. See, there's a lot of special interests here, folks, that do not want this war to be over. And you're looking at one of them right there. Yeah. How does it feel, buddy? Believe me when I tell you they're working very hard right now to accomplish the goal of mass chaos and civil unrest in America right now. This is a critical, pivotal time right now. And that is why when Trump says July 4th is going to be a time of celebration, a year-long celebration, he means it. This is from the SIF. I get some of these posts from X, and I think they hold, I don't know, I believe they hold some substance, and that's why I bring it out to your attention. So Mr. O, Mr. B, and Miss HRC, multi-billion-dollar secret and blood money behind Osama bin Laden and SEAL Team 6. Now, this stuff is going to start coming out from my understanding, especially about SEAL Team 6. A lot is there, and if you don't know about it, I'm not going to go into it on Fluff 2, but go research really what could have happened to SEAL Team 6 and really who is behind that. They got to keep a lot of people quiet. A lot of people quiet. Folks, this is all heating up right now. I'm telling you, we're in the most critical time right now. I don't know if you all saw the mystery fireball that was flying across the sky in southeastern United States on Thursday. I saw this video and I thought it was, I sent it to you, Alex. I don't know if you got it. There it is. Yeah. Show that mystery fireball. Now, what's crazy about this, folks, is that I saw the same thing bigger than that. So you saw that right there in that video. The one I saw was bigger over Las Vegas, Nevada about 12 years ago. And it lit up. It was at night. I was outside cooking steaks and hot dogs. And the next thing you know, this huge, I'm looking out at the Las Vegas Strip. I was in Lake Las Vegas, and I was looking out over the Las Vegas Strip, and I saw something comparable to that, but even bigger, and it lit up the whole Las Vegas for like 3 seconds. It was unbelievable, and I just sat there with the cigar in my mouth and the fucking the cooker going off, and I was like, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. The prongs were in my hand, and I was just staring at my sky. I was like, did anyone see this? This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So I don't know what it was. Could it be a meteor? I don't know. Could it be space junk? I don't know. Interesting. It's just interesting. I'm going to chalk it to a meteor or space junk. I don't think it was a missile, but could it have been? I don't know. We're in very critical times right now. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all. Iran Supreme Leader claims victory over U.S. Are you serious? You just got the shit bombed out of you, man. But anyway, he's claiming victory. The first ever strikes in nuke facilities. The Supreme Leader of Iran has declared victory over the U.S. and Israel in a series of expos Thursday. So I have my theories on this. Could this guy have been taken out? I think there's a huge, now this is just my theory, but I think there's a huge probability that this guy could have been taken out. And I think there could be a dual regime change happening right now under our noses. Now, that's just my opinion, but it also is Josh Reed's opinion and a few other people that I talked to that there could be something happening behind the scenes, a dual regime change maybe. And why would they do it in secrecy? Well, because, I don't know, if it was public, there could be a holy war, okay? Civil unrest, civil chaos could break out anywhere and everywhere. Think about that for a second. This has to be done with surgical precision, folks. And with that being said, let's bring on Bo Pony. Bo.
Hey, good to see you. I'm sitting here laughing. You are funny, Nino.
I try to hold
I know
together.
what your audience loves you.
Do you know how hard it is to put together a show by yourself and do it all by yourself? I don't think,
Yeah, I'd rather do a podcast with somebody because it's not fun to talk into a screen. So I know what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. So, Bo, help us put a lens on this and help us understand what the hell is happening here according to dates and timelines, which you are, I'll say you're an expert at. So October 7th, Israel gets attacked. And 666 days fast forward leads us to August 3rd of 2025.
Yeah, actually, if you want to start there, we can loop back to July in a second. But since you want to talk about that, let's go there. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so but first, folks, we're going to cut the feed right now on X and on Facebook. Facebook and X. Jump to my YouTube, folks. Help us out there. You're not going to want to miss this. So go to YouTube right now. Just move. It's all. You just have to move your thumb on your phone. That's all you got to do. Go to YouTube and visit us there. We're cutting the feed right now on Facebook and on X. All right, Bo. Let's get into this.
Yeah. So, Alex, if you want to pop the slide up. So those of you who have been watching Nino, myself, for the past few years now, this was back, I believe it was October 1st or 2nd of the year 2023. Nino and I did a podcast, and I said, don't be surprised if, we see a Israel war breakout this Friday, which was, I think, the 6th or the 7th. And lo and behold, on that exact day, we had a war breakout. Now, again, why this happened? Because, again, events in our world, like I've always said, so everything Nino is saying right now, understand, Nino's taking, information that's available, that he's gathering, putting pieces together, and all of this information is creating this beautiful picture, but all of it is tied in with politics and everything that's going on behind the scenes. But ultimately, the overseer of all of this is the Bible. Okay. This is all political. Whether people want to believe it or not, I'm going to give you so many examples and those of you who watch our podcasts in the past, there's no way that this is all just random. And back to what we just talked about with regards to the war. Okay. When you read Leviticus, it says, thou shalt consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land. So in other words, 50 is a Jubilee cycle. And we're in a Jubilee cycle right now. And so why was the Yom Kippur War important? Because that was on October 6th of 73. A 50-year cycle takes you to where? October 6th, 7th of 2023. So 1973, 23, there's your 50-year cycle. It happened to the exact day. If this was not political, if the numbers didn't matter, the war could have been at any time. But it wasn't, okay? It was on a specific time point, and it marked the 50-year time point. Now, interesting, Nino was talking the other day, we did a podcast. You should go back and listen to it. But Nino brought up the date of October 3rd. I'm like, well, that's interesting because I had one of my slides because that was actually, if you think about October 3rd, you were saying August 3rd, my mistake. Nino was saying August 3rd. Well, if you go from the 3rd of July, which is a very important date, we'll go back to that in a second, but July 3rd, and you go forwards 1 month, okay, which is 30 days, you get to August 3rd, 2025. So again, a 30-day cycle, but this is the wild part. It's exactly 666 days from the war of October 7th, 2023, the Tabernacle War. To the exact day is August 3rd, 2025. Well, who cares? This is huge. Why? Because if you study Hebrew calendar, what there's a day called the 9th of Av. The 9th of Av. This is on the Hebrew calendar. It's a time of mourning for the Hebrew nation. The entire Hebrew nation, everybody who's Jewish, mourns the 9th of Av. Why? Okay. Because it's all, it's all about God, and God had the Hebrews build a temple for them. Well, what a coincidence that on this day, the first temple was destroyed. Now it gets more wild. Now there's that thing. And then years later, the second temple is destroyed on the exact day. So
what makes us think that the third temple won't be destroyed?
Well, now there's a problem because you can't build a third temple because the Dome of the Rock is sitting right there.
That's what I mean. That's what I meant. The Dome of the Rock.
Yeah, so the Dome of the Rock, so everything you're seeing right now with Israel, America, Hamas, all of this is because of the Dome of the Rock. Do you understand that little spot right there? It's the smallest spot in the world, and it's the most fought over spot for the past 4 or 5,000 years. That spot, the Dome of the Rock, because that's the exact spot where I believe Allah gave the Quran thing, so they're fighting over that. And then that's a spot where Abraham was supposed to kill his son, right? And then the angel showed up and said, don't touch your son. So
that is the most valuable piece of real estate to all religions
in the world.
That's crazy. Yeah. So could we say that maybe something happens to that valuable spot of real estate on that day, maybe? And this is just, folks, we don't know. We're not psychics. We're
not psychics, but God did not tell us, or me, or anybody that I know of, that there's going to be an event on this day. So this is just Nino and I talking, okay? But I'm throwing the math at this, and I'm like, this is kind of strange because it's 666 days to the exact day from the Tabernacle War of October 7th, 2023, okay? And it lands, it could land on any day. This is what I'm trying to tell people. That why are these times biblical? Because God wrote time in addition to the end, okay? He wrote who won. The church wins. Satan's a loser. He's the forever loser, okay? But in addition to the winning team, God wrote time. It's in the book of Jubilees. We talked about that in our last podcast. So what are the chances that the most mourned date, the saddest date in Israel's history is exactly 666 days from the war of October 7th. But more importantly, how does it land on the 9th of Av? Ask yourself that. How is it possible? 666 days. So what I'm showing you, this is the timing and all the things, as Nino was saying in the prelude here about all the things going on in the world. Yes, all these things are going on in the world, but it's all a setup in God's plan. And we'll get to that plan in just a minute. So as horrible as things look, please understand it's going to get worse. And we'll talk about this, but this is a setup. It's a setup for victory. Go ahead, Nino.
So I was going to say, just to compound on that, to capitalize on what you just said, I've heard from everybody things are about to get much worse. It's, we did nullify Iran as a threat, but people need to understand Iran was it was a proxy by the deep state. Now they're going to go all systems go. And that's why I'm hearing from Border Patrol and people in those areas. And especially folks, I'm on the border. I have friends everywhere. I was raised on both sides. I hear a lot of stuff. And what I'm hearing is a lot of stuff is coming through and they don't know what could be slipping through their fingers. So I'm talking about chemical, bios. I mean, all kinds of different stuff to hurt our cattle, food supply, surface to air missile stuff. I mean, crazy shit is what I'm hearing. So folks, all I'm saying and all Bo's saying is we are in that critical window, that time, that window frame. And I can't say with certainty what's going to happen, but I know what I'm hearing and I'm putting it together with what Bo is saying and it all makes sense. Go ahead, Bo.
No, and then everything Nino's saying, all these, scary things that are happening, they're probably all going to happen. And then there's one saying, and then God showed up. You see, so it doesn't matter what their plan is. God's already prophesied all of this. This is the wild part. We're all watching this in our, the saying, the Esther saying, you were born for such a time as this. Oh, yes, you were, but you don't even know what you've been born into. This is going to be the greatest time in human history. But before it happens, what have Nineveh always said? It's about a birthing process, okay? So what is it? This is Matthew 24. You will hear of wars. Let me just read it to you. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Why? Because who's the creator of fear? It's the devil. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy, whereas Christ comes to give you life more abundantly, okay? Abundantly is about to happen, okay? Because a moment of time is about to happen that's going to change the scales, the scales will flip, okay? So we're stepping into a moment of time, but before it happens, the nation's brought to its knees. So what's about to happen is America's about to be brought to its knees. So how could it happen with everything Nino just described? Okay. It's going to get to the point where it's going to get very scary. So let me just continue reading. It says, but be not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Meaning, like, we're still years out for when Nino does his welcome to the apocalypse, right? Because the apocalypse is basically the Antichrist kingdom, and then ultimately it's the return of Christ in World War III, okay? And so that's called the tribulation, and this is in the Bible, and at the end of that, guess what? We know we win. But on top of that, that timeline's already been written into the Bible, okay? And it ain't now. It is not now. And let me continue reading. Nation will rise against nation. What are we seeing right now? And kingdom against kingdom. We're seeing this. And here it is. There will be famines and earthquakes. Okay. So famines and then earthquakes. Remember the Kim Clement prophecy about the 2 E's, earthquakes and eruptions in summer. What could take, if the Dome of the Rock is a piece of the equation, what could take it down? Well, there could be a strike at it, or it could be an earthquake at that moment, at that point. What I'm saying is we don't know the event, but the point is there's a possibility things could happen on these time points because they're mathematically important biblically. That's what I'm trying to say. They're mathematically important biblically. And let me just finish. And in various places, and then here it is. All of these things are the beginnings of birth pains. What's birthing pains? Contractions. Israel attacked Hamas, okay, or Iran. That was a contraction. United States came in and attacked Iran. Another contraction, okay? These are contractions. They're about to attack us. There's another contraction. I believe they're going to attack us. And then the birth happens. And then you forget about all the contractions because the baby is born and you're wonderful. How awesome our God is. Go ahead, Nino.
All right, folks, border news, border news. U.S. Embassy in Mexico issues alert for travelers to stay vigilant and safe. Laredo, Texas, U.S. Embassy in Mexico has issued a travel warning. Folks, if you're traveling to Mexico or you have kids traveling to Mexico, I would say maybe sit this one out. A lot of you say, "Oh, have no fear, do what you want to do." But I'm just saying, it's a very hot time right now, especially with the cartels in Mexico, and they're losing this war, folks. So I don't think I know that Americans need to stay vigilant when you're down in Mexico. If you have kids going down there, at least read them the Riot Act, folks. List below of recommended actions to take. Stay alert. Do not make unnecessary stops, especially if you're driving. If you're driving in Mexico, I would not do that. If you're going to go to a resort or something like that, you still need to be careful. Stay vigilant. Be aware of your surroundings. Notify friends and family of your safety. Stay in constant contact with your family if you're in Mexico. You know what, folks? I don't know, but to me, is it worth it? Why don't you just go to the Florida Keys or something like that? But then again, other countries are issuing travel warnings for America. So, folks, we're in a very hot time right now. Also, the House passes bill to ensure illegal immigrants who drive drunk get deported. Hey, orale, you're going to get deported if you drink drunk, borracho. So 160 Democrats voted against this, by the way. Isn't that nice? Family members outraged as U.S. citizens detained by federal agents in downtown L.A. on way to work. The family members of a U.S. citizen, they say, who was taken into custody by federal agents in downtown Los Angeles on Tuesday are demanding answers as she was detained while her way to work. Andrea Velez, a Cal Pomona grad working in merchandising at a shoe company, had just been dropped off by her mother and sister for the workday when she saw her being taken into custody, adding they had barely even driven a block before she was arrested. They didn't have vests that said ICE or anything. Velez's sister, Estrella Rojas, said the cars didn't even have license plates. She says that her mother was driving away when she looked at her rearview mirror and saw the police taking her daughter into custody. In the rearview mirror, she saw her sister that was kind of like attacked from the back and thrown to the floor by the ICE agents. Folks, if they have a tip and they think that you're here illegally, they can do what they want. Just going to say that right now. It doesn't matter how much you fight against it and how much you yell and scream. Here's where I have a problem. This is where I have a problem. Now, I'm just going to say this because I like to fly and I like to travel. But I've always said, when the pendulum goes left, I'm watching on how far it goes right. Confirmed by the TSA. Passengers must follow new instructions at U.S. airports or risk delays and confiscations. The summer travel boom has arrived, and before you even get to the gate, the TSA has new rules and regulations, folks. In a blunt 18th June 2025 post, the agency told flyers that any harassment, threat, or shove directed at TSA agents will not be tolerated. So, and can end in fines, arrest, or immediate removal from the airport. Okay, folks, so if you like to travel and fly, you give the TSA agents any shit, and you could be arrested and face fines. How much? The penalties can top out at $17,000 per violation. $17,000 per violation. Folks, I've always said, I'll always watch this pendulum. If it swings left, how far right is it going to go? This is, to me, is completely unnecessary. And I'm going to say right now that I'm not flying again because I don't go to the airport to be harassed, groped, and to me, it feels like we're checking into a prison. I'm not about this at all. So I'm not flying anymore. I'm not giving the TSA any rights over me. I'm not putting myself in jeopardy. I'm driving. I'm driving my happy ass everywhere because I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to comply with TSA. Sorry, folks. Giving them unrestricted authority, I'm not for it. And I have always said that when the pendulum swings left, it swings right. And how far right is it going to swing? Sorry, Sorry. I don't know how you all feel about it. Put your comments in the post your comments below and let me know if you're going to continue flying or if you're going to sit this one out, because I'm sorry, folks. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. And I'm not giving these asshats authority over me. Sorry, I'm not going to happen. All right, Bo, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. You know, well, here, well, every time I go to the airport, you know, I'm always like, I'll pass on the picture, you know, and it's just that the whole point is, why do they need to have a free picture of you? If you want a picture of me, you can pay me, but I'm not, like, the point is you're just giving up your personal things left, right, and center for free all the time. And that's the point. It's just that you can say no. That's the point of why I say no.
I say no all the time, and I see people in lockstep. Everybody goes up to stand in front of the camera. They all stand there and take their picture. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, they already have all this information on you anyway. I'm like, so what?
And
I don't want to give it to them.
Right. Like, why do you want to keep giving away your personal rights all the time? Your personal pictures, your fingerprint. Like, where does it end? The whole point is they want to train you to just give up everything all the time because they want you to be a sheep and a serp and just basically bow down to them because they are the gods. Like, this is the point of the world we live in. So the answer is, you know, no, and no, you know, and just say, that's how I've always operated. You know, why fall in line?
I agree. I do not comply, and I will not. And I've always said, once it goes left, it's going to go right. How far right is it going to go? Sorry, I'm not giving them any authority over me. Unnecessary. If I want, you know, remember the days when you used to travel, you used to enjoy it. It used to be something you enjoy. Now it's like checking into a prison or like checking into Fort Knox.
Yeah,
this is especially when you know the truth about 9/11 and all these things. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to
like literally after 9/11, people after 9/11, they came out with a book this thick, you know, like 3 days after, you know, the Patriot Act. Like, come on, you can't write a book this thick with all the details 3 days later. It doesn't happen, right? The whole thing was a setup. And there's nothing patriot about the Patriot Act. That's it. All I can say, you know. So, you know, now you go. I remember you go to the airport. You know, we could walk with our family members right up to the gates and hang out with them at the gate. And then you basically say goodbye to them as they walked, you know, onto the plane. And now, you know, it's like good luck on even saying, you know, you basically got to drop them off at the from the car and leave. You can't even really enter the airport.
Whenever you buy a plane ticket, you're paying to be harassed, and that's why if I can drive 4 to 8 hours, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The church is about to get a whole lot of money, Nino. And when the church gets a whole lot of money, the church is going to be buying a whole lot of great things, including some, you know, people will be getting planes and all kinds of stuff. So I'm telling you, we are stepping into the greatest time in human history. But before that time happens, it's the scariest time in human history. And so because of, you know, that's what Nino's doing, what he's doing right now. He's telling you all the things that are coming because they are coming. But this is the point. So now let's get back into, it's not my opinion. This is some mathematics within the Bible and then some prophecies that I basically have put together. So this is what God is speaking. I don't forget about what I'm saying. Forget about what Nino is saying. Let's just look at what God said, because God speaks truth, because my God cannot lie. Okay. The God that spoke through Kim Clement prophesied that Trump would have 2 terms. Okay. Everything Kim Clement has prophesied has come to pass so far. You know, we all thought he got it wrong when Trump only got 1 term. But then it said later on, you know, Trump will be set aside for a season. He was set aside for a presidency, right? A season was a presidency. What I'm trying to say is everything that's happening is all political. It ain't biblical. It's all biblical. It ain't political. But yet we have to watch all these events transpire. But that's why if you're not focused on the news and you're focused on the Bible, focused on the word, focused on what the prophets are saying, you actually are excited for what's coming. That's the point. You should be excited for what's coming and not freaking out, okay? Because if you're freaking out and you're in fear because you're watching the news too much, you're listening to Satan's channel too much. So here, let me read this. And this is a prophecy from Kim Clement, and then we'll play a video in a second. But this prophecy goes back to, what was the date? I think it was, February 22nd of 2014. People, this was 11 years ago. Kim Clement was prophesying about what's happening right now. Think about that. He was giving the words. God was speaking through him about what's happening right now. And here it is. So we just had OAC and a couple of people trying to say, you know, they got to try to impeach Trump, right? We've heard that. Literally, this was just on the news, right? What did it say? They shall shout, impeach, impeach. This is exactly the prophecy. But this shall not happen. They literally shut it down in a second, okay? And then God says, here it is, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises. And people will become very afraid. Okay, so we're stepping into what was just prophesied by Carolyn Dennis as the Great Reveal. Okay, another thing that we've talked about is called the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening comes when truths get exposed. Like, so why hasn't that one guy that that apparently killed in jail, whatever you say his name or not? Okay, why aren't his files out yet? Why? Because a highly embarrassing moment is coming where all these things are about to be revealed. Okay. And so this is prophecy. Another Snowden arises and people will become very afraid. They say, we have no protection. In other words, it's going to get worse. And then God says, here it is, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Remember, what did Nino say? They're bringing things into America right now. And God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Because that would tie in with the sleeper cells. Okay. Am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with your men's legs? He laughs at them. I have said, I will bring this nation to its knees, says God. So God's going to be a part of America falling to its knees. This is all a part of the plan. And then it finishes, and you have been humbled. You see, when people go to their knees, they're humbled. You see, America is too arrogant. The people have too much money here. They're too focused on chasing finances all the time. So God's about to humble everybody, okay? And now you have been humbled, and I will humble you yet some more. And then you will hear the sounds of great victory. That's the prophecy. So why am I saying this? Because this, I believe, starting the 1st of July, this is my best guess.
I got to do that. Sorry.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. All glory to Jesus. All glory to God. All glory to God. Because again, this is God's plan, not ours. I'm just putting pieces together, but God's in charge. Men are not in charge. The crazy part is these fools actually think they're in charge. That's the crazy part. These people who bow down to Lucifer, the fallen one, actually think that they're in charge because he's made them kings on earth. And because God hasn't moved for 2,000 years, we have not seen, like when Christ rose from the dead, that was the greatest victory in human history. But since that time point, people think God doesn't do those things anymore. People
right, and a lot of these people, and I'm not saying they're not good people, but a lot of people follow what the occult follow and they worship it. Like, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, but they walk around with crystals and they channel or they follow astrology, but they don't look to God for. And I think those
it's empty. I feel bad for them.
They can be tools, right? But I look at it as just following the enemy's playbook on what they're doing. So there's a lot of stuff happening with the planetary alignments right now. And I know that the occult follows these things. They're sun worshipers, right, Bo?
Yeah. Well, but God wrote the planetary alignments. See, it's all God's plan, but God basically, he gives signs. And it says in Luke, there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, okay? And just like when Jesus Christ was born, okay, there was the Star of Bethlehem. At Christmas time, we all celebrate the Star of Bethlehem, the birth of Jesus. Why? Because with Jesus' birth was a star. So there's signs, but the problem is these people who are in the occult, okay, and these people, the psychics and all these people think they know everything, and the New Agers. Here's the problem, okay? God's going to shake these people, and most are going to come to Christ. That's the cool part. God's going to shake the earth with such vigor, and he's going to do such an incredible job this year that many and much of these people will realize that they've been following the satanic and they will turn to Christ. So we got to give these people grace because God will turn many of these people. But the point is, all that occult stuff it's empty. None of these people are happy. There's no happiness in following tarot cards or the psychic. There's no happiness because only Jesus brings you love. Jesus will fill your heart with glory and love.
I will say, though, Bo, I can understand why people do it because I've done it before in my life, and I could not believe I could not believe what they were telling me. I walked away mumbling like, how did they know all this about me and my family?
They're called the Watchers. You see, they watch you. Their spiritual realm is watching you. This goes back to the fallen ones. They're the Watchers. That's why they're called the Watchers in the Bible. They watch you and your family, so they know details about your family. But because they work for the demonic, they hate your guts. And what they want to do is they suck you in. They suck you in with truths, right? And then they basically stick a knife in your back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how the demonic works.
My point being is that it's the playbook we should be following.
Yeah, well, and think about like all these people, the Republicans, the Democrats, and the political system. All these people, they bow down. They've let these Nephilim spirits into their bodies. Okay, kind of off topic, but they've let these demonic spirits into their bodies, and now they think they work for a god. They think they're all powerful because they all have secret handshakes. They all work on the same team, and then God shows up and takes them down at their knees. But the whole point is, the devil they work for, actually, here it is, the God they work for, he's a fallen one, Lucifer. They work for a fallen angel. At the end, it actually is scriptural. He's going to spit them out. This is the crazy part. All these people who work and believe in this stuff, and God, and their God, Satan, the devil's raised them up to be kings on earth. At the end, the devil, he's so arrogant, he spits them out. He doesn't even care about these people. He's just using them. He's the great user. That's the crazy part of all of this. Think about that for a minute.
I
where's
do.
The God, where's Jesus loves
that's
you,
why
and he will love you for all eternity in the Father. Go ahead.
That's why I try to intertwine and really mesh all of this together for my audience, because I think it all. I think it's both things here. Like I understand that it's biblical. It's not just political. It's biblical. And and that's what they follow at the very core of this. This is a spiritual war. That's what this is. People at the very core need to understand this.
Because Ephesians says, the Bible's very clear. You can read all the versions of it. And all the versions of the Bible say, we battle not against flesh and blood. We're flesh and blood. This is not a battle between us. It's spiritual darkness, princes of darkness, princes of the air. This is the battle. It's a spiritual battle. It's right in the Bible. And so it might feel personal, it might feel physical, but it ain't. This is principalities, princes of darkness are fighting God because it's a battle for your soul. The devil wants you to hang out in all hell. Please understand the word all eternity. People, if you had a blip in time, boom, that's like 70 years, 100 years on earth, okay? Eternity just goes forever. A blip is your lifetime on earth. And if you choose poorly, you're going to be in hell for all eternity with a forever loser. Think about that for a minute. If there's even a fraction of a percentage that you are wrong in your beliefs about which side you're picking. Think about that.
I agree with that. I'm not willing to risk that my soul at any cost.
Yeah. And so the prophecy I just read about Kim Clement, here is the prophecy of what's about to be birthed. So we talk about birthing pains. He's going to play the video here. This is a video about what is about to happen. And please remember this Revelation 12 sign. You talk about the starting alignments.
1 second.
This
my audience put in here that Zahran Mamdani or whatever, the New York mayoral candidate, is not even a U.S. citizen, and Trump has been talking about deporting him. I've heard this, but folks, let me know in the comments. Is that true? Because I've heard that. I think Laura Loomer has been coming out talking about this, like he needs to be deported or something in that nature. So, folks, let me know in the chat below if that's true or not, because I've heard something like that, but I didn't want to report on it. But if it's true, put it in the chat. Is he, in fact, not a U.S. citizen?
Even the judge, I don't know the judge's name, but the judge that was going up against Trump about all these rulings trying to go against Trump, he wasn't a Supreme Court, but he was higher up judge. The judge was a Canadian citizen. Think about that for a minute. Man. Think about that.
How does this even make sense? Go ahead, Bo.
Play the video. This is it. You play the video.
There will be a sign in the heavens. It will look and it shall be likened unto a woman that is about to give birth, and she is in labor. For God said there is a birth taking place, and America is suffering the labor pains. America is suffering the last hours before the birth of this child. Did you not know that there would be something birthed, says the Spirit of the living God? It's about to be born. It's about to be born for this nation. A move of my Spirit that shall shake the church, that shall shake the gates of the cities, that will shake the gates of the cities. Listen to the word of the Lord. It's about to be born. Your travail must come to an end, says the Lord. Satan shall chase after you, but God said, I will give you 2 wings. I will give you the wings of eagles, so that you will be taken to a place that I have kept just for you, says the Lord. And you shall be carried to a place of safety, while the enemy tries to find you, and you will not be able to find this generation, and they will not be able to destroy the child. For listen, when the child is born, he will immediately try to kill this move. When this movement is born, he will immediately try to kill it, just like they tried to kill Christ when he was born, just like they tried to kill Moses when the deliverer was about to come forth. This movement is a movement of deliverance, but I will deliver the earth from the curse. God said this, that is about to be born, is one of the holiest moves of my Spirit, and it shall be done with the most unholy people that lie alive today, says the Lord.
Remember, this happened September of 2017. The math is so perfect. So 2017, you add 8 years, new beginning, and you're at 2025.
That's what's about to happen. And the moment it happens, they're going to try to kill the move. But God's going to protect us. And he basically says, but I will, I'm going to protect you on this, and they will not be able to touch you. We're about to, this the birth, everything you're seeing right now. Please, everybody, we're about to see fulfillment of the prophecy that was written 2,000 years ago about the Revelation 12 sign. 8 years later is the new beginning, and we're about to see that here this 4th of July.
So, Bo, let me ask you this. Do you think, and I've heard a lot of the terror plots have been foiled, Iran has been neutralized, but they're still making big moves on the chessboard within our country. Do you think that there is a terror plot that's going to succeed?
So it's a great question. Pop the slide on, and it's not about my opinion, it's about the math, okay? So as all women listening to this podcast, when you finally give birth, until you give birth, you're in birthing pains. Are you with me? Okay. Until the baby's delivered, you're in birthing pains. And today, as we're speaking, it's the 27th of June. The delivery doesn't happen until midnight at least, or late July 3rd. The child is born on the 4th of July. So until the 4th of July hits, expect anything.
Okay, so after the 4th of July, nothing? Is that what you're saying?
No. After the 4th of July, the baby's born. The devil's freaking out because the truths come out. But they're going to try to still kill the baby that was just born, but God's not going to allow it. And this is the birth of the new kingdom, the kingdom of God that's about to be birthed. But specifically in scriptures, it's Haggai 2, verse 9, which is the latter house. The latter house will be greater, which is in terms of body, Jesus is the head of the church, okay? And then he's going to come later to marry the body. So it's a marriage feast in the future. And so the body's got to be born. The body's going to be born this 4th of July.
Okay, so this 4th of July, what happens, Bo? I mean, I'm trying to...
Celebrations.
Okay.
But
so something's going to be
before that, to answer your question. So this is just the mathematics of this. So you're asking what? I don't know. But it's going to be, the answer is, the word is celebrations on the 4th, because I believe we're going to go dark for 4 days. And this ties in with what happened with Lazarus. I heard very clearly 3.5, 4 years ago, a prophecy that God kept repeating to my head called Lazarus.
I would say you don't know what's going to happen. Something could happen, but you don't know what's going to happen.
But
that's a safer bet.
That's a safer bet, but I can give you the events of, I can give you the time. If Babylon's about to come down, okay, and and the prophecy's about to be filled, they will bring this nation to its knees. And the only thing that if the truth starts coming out, what's the only thing they can do, Turn off the internet. Okay, turn off the lights, turn on the power. Okay.
I heard there's going to be some cyber attacks that do get through.
Yeah, so do expect power outages or internet outages. It's expected we're stepping into a time of darkness, and what the Lord revealed to me, what personally He revealed to me, which is specifically in Scripture. It's in John 11, and it's the Lazarus. I'm going to pronounce Lazarus move. And this is specifically the death of Lazarus. And the point of this is because Lazarus he dies, he's dead in the tomb, and they put him in a tomb. He's dead for 3 to 4 days. But what Christ shows up, and he raises Lazarus on the 4th day. Coincidentally, that's the 4th of July. You see what I'm saying? So July 1, 2, 3. So whatever is going down, expect something to happen, because the prophecy is they will bring this nation to its knees. Okay. So darkness and then joy in the morning. Go ahead.
Dr. David Martin is coming on my show. He says that he's uncovered on documentation, and I'm not going to say it on Fluff Tube, folks. This will be on ninoscorner.tv. Get over there, and you're going to want to hear this podcast with Dr. David Martin talking about how there is a plot for a mass casualty event on July 4th. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that, but he's coming on ninoscorner.tv. That's July 1st. You're going to want to hear this one. Believe me. So Bo,
well, let me just tap into what you're actually saying there, because you see, if we go dark, there's something that's supposed to happen. Okay. This is supposed to start the Jubilee. So this ties in with finances. I know you've talked many times before about cryptocurrencies. Mainly you focus about buying gold and silver. So if Lazarus is America. That's the prophecy. So America is expected to die, and that would tie in with America going to her knees, and then humbled yet some more. And then you will hear the sounds of great victory. When is that? That's joy in the morning. My glory shall fill the earth. That's expected to begin on the 4th of July. So I do not buy and do not believe a mass casualty event on the 4th. It would have to be the day before. Okay, because the 4th is celebrations. You and I, now this would tie in with precious metals. Now,
why would anybody be celebrating if it happened the day before?
Because this would tie in
morning.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let's go into this, okay? Because we have talked about specifically the precious metals. Okay, silver is the marker for blowing through $50. Okay, when you see, just write this down as a point. Anybody listening, when silver takes out $50, the Jubilee starts, the year of rest. The year of Jubilee means God, no matter what anybody's doing, God is in control. He takes control of the earth for 1 year with signs, and it's going to be just the greatest things are just going to be blowing people's minds. And it's supposed to start, and this is going to continue all of the year, but there's another big event. We talked about possibly October and shaking. But then there's a big event in September. We can do a podcast on that later. But there's a huge event set up for September, okay? The end of September. Huge. So is whatever is about to happen here in the 4th of July time point, magnitudes greater on in September. September is going to be a worldwide 9/11 expected. That's what I expect to happen. So whatever happens right now, it's going to get crazier all summer. And this actually, you want to cue the video up in just a second, but I want to tie you with Jubilee starting, because the Jubilee begins with silver blowing through $50, which is expected to potentially occur. This could occur next week. Okay, so we could see silver blow through $50 because chaos is manifesting on the earth. And the point I'm trying to make on, if silver blows through $50, the Jubilee begins. And the Jubilee is God intervening upon humanity. So it's a time point of shift. And this ties in specifically with what you and I have spoken about over and over again. Now mass casualty event, you know what immediately triggers my head when you say that is the angel of death. Now, why I say that is because silver is the marker for humanity to leave Egypt. I'm going to repeat, silver blowing through $50 starts the Jubilee for humanity. God stepping in and changing the course of history. But we listen to the prophecy of Kim Clement. That's Revelation 12, Virgo giving birth. Okay. These are birth pains right now that we're witnessing. So Virgo gives birth. The child is born, America. Okay. Or in other words, Jacob is born. Jacob is the child that's born ultimately will become the body of Christ. The birth of Jacob, they're going to try to kill, but God's going to protect. So God's going to not let anything happen. But when this event goes down, silver blows vertical. So if silver blows vertical, this is when Israel departs Egypt in the morning. So that time, so the 4th of July would be Israel leaving Egypt. But what happened the night before? A mass casualty event.
Okay.
On the 3rd. Okay. So what that means is God intervened, the angel of death. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying type in shadow. All I know is silver is about to blow vertical. Okay. It's going to happen. No one can stop. This is about to go. So those who don't have silver, this is your last warning. If you don't have it, do whatever you want financial. I'm not giving you financial advice, but I know silver. I know, Nino and myself are buying precious metals. We've got precious metals because we believe in what's about to happen. Okay. We've been waiting for this moment. I believe it's about to go down here on these 4 days of darkness that we've been talking about. So this could trigger into the 4th of July. Now, if Israel is if the type and shadow of Israel leaving Egypt is the 4th of July, that means on the 3rd of July is that mass casualty event of
hold on,
thousands or millions dead.
Okay,
this is, remember that the mass casualty event is the angel of death.
I'm going to put a disclaimer out there that I don't know. I'm not predicting anything, but you're not either, right?
Neither am I. We're not predicting. I'm doing type and shadow to Israel and Egypt. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, because this is where, people hold you to this type of stuff,
Yeah,
so I don't
and that's fine.
Because I don't know.
No, people, you can. That's what God didn't tell me that this is going to happen, this way. Okay, but I do know that I study history in the Bible. Okay, we've never, ever, ever, ever seen silver blow through $50.
All right,
ever. It's never touched 50. And what I'm saying is the prophets have said when silver goes through 50, it starts the Jubilee. And then we type and shadow that to Israel and Egypt, we could see something go down that night. But remember, should it be some kind of a death event, just know that it's nothing to fear because that's God stepping in with the angel, taking out the enemies of God.
All right, folks, I'm going to read some super chats right now. Alex, if you want to get the super chats up, and then I'm going to read are you going to stick around for my what the fuck news, Bo? I guess that's
Bo, do you want to play
we covered a good amount of stuff.
Do you want to play that other Kim Clement video?
Yeah. I'll stick.
Go ahead. Play that first.
Play that first. 3-minute clip because that actually talks about. So this is important. After the events transpire this 4th of July, should something go down, but I believe it will, then we step into summer, and this is the great reveal, the great exposure. Another Snowden will arise, okay? This is another Kim Clement prophecy about the season's prophecy that's about to go down, and then you can get into your news, But I think this is a beautiful finishing touch on how this is about to play out. Regardless of what they're trying to do, God's in charge.
Today, I will expose, I will reveal, for you have entered into a time and a season of undercover, where I will bring out from the covers the truth. For there have been too many lies, one lie after the other, covered in high national positions. There are 2 E's that I see. One E is the word erupt. The other is earthquake. A volcano as a sign. And then there will be another earthquake, says the Lord. Keep your eyes open, for this sign is to cause the earth to yield of its produce, that the great E may come forth rapidly. Summer reaches to spring and to fall. I will be the mediator, says summer. My sun will shine. Yet beneath the earth, there is a rage. Eruptions. Summer says, why choose they me? Why do the tornadoes, the hurricanes choose me? I am summer. I bring smiles. I bring sunshine. I bring warmth.
This year will be a cleansing year, and summer, oh summer, as my beloved prophet Kim said, this is that summer. Wait and see.
I am summer. I bring smiles. I bring sunshine. I bring warmth. Yet there is a tumultuous rendering that is coming. I stand to protect spring, but fall, you are rebelling. Or is it that possibly the Spirit of God will cause many to fall in fall? And I will start from the top. I have shaken the Democrats and will shake the Republicans even more. But remember, when these tremors and when these tumultuous moments happen, Summer says, I will take it. so that the fall can do its work in America. Summer, take it. For thus says the Lord, I will prosper my people. I will prosper my people. And during the fall there shall be many that shall fall, and many that shall rise from the dust. For the summer shall bring forth much in the temperatures.
So this summer shall be the hottest by far. The heat will bring the natural storms, and my heat will bring the cleansing.
Strange July, strange July.
From creation to the birth of Jesus to the Declaration of Independence was divine calculations to the exact year. From the Declaration of Independence, 248 years takes you to the year 2024, July. This right now is the year 248, which means that the year 248 ends when? Right there, it's in yellow, the July 3rd, 2025.
You kept saying July 3rd, July 3rd, July 3rd. I'm like, that's the day of the dismantling tour. And Robin Bullock kept saying, this is the closing of the book. This is the turning of the page. We are moving on from what has been. We're moving on from a season of war. And he said, like, this date is important. This date is important. This date is important. So July 4th, 2025, he says, marks the first day of the new chapter that we are heading into.
So we're stepping into a time of my glory shall fill the earth. Numbers 14:21. The glory brings miracles.
Hypnotic November and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. For God says, I have chosen each season to manifest something. My will shall be done, and it shall come to pass.
This nation shall be cleansed like my land after a good rain. I am cleansing the USA and all of my world. My storm is coming through man, through arrest, indictments, drug bust of cartels, and tribunals and executions. It is all coming to a theater near you, right on your very own TV.
Hey, and you know what? Trump has said that on his posts. It's coming to a theater near you, folks. All right, Bo. Now we're going to take some super chats real quick. So AC Lavender, David you Christ, oh, thank yous. All right, Caroline Miller, thank you for your book, Bo. It's fascinating. If you want to understand more of what Bo Boney is saying, you need to get his book. Thank you, Caroline. Dennis Ray, Nino, and crew number 1. Thank you so much, Dennis. Michelle Christians, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. Debbie Clore, thank you for the super. Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Lee A. Bryan, Bo David Trader Girl just got an expose about ley line between Golden Gate East Wall and the Golden Gate Bridge. Grateful Dead playing 8-3 at Golden Gate. Interesting.
Just remember, they will bring this nation to its knees, but a part of that, we could see the Statue of Liberty go down. We could see the Golden Gate go down. Like, we're going to see things that are going to bring the nation to its knees, and it's going to freak. So we don't know the events. Just know that Babylon, the things that Babylon built, think of it this way: the things that Babylon built are coming down because they can't.
Hold on, but the Grateful Dead is playing at the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh,
that's
that interesting.
At the bridge, or what? Like somewhere near it? What are you talking about here? Someone put it in the chat.
That's like 8-3. Oh, that's the same day, and that's August 3rd. Wow.
Golden Gate East Wall and Golden Gate. Okay.
And that's the 9th. That's the 9th of Ave. That's the same exact date.
Golden Gate Park, man.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Dead, and this is a big calm to me, man.
Yeah. Well, just know that the time point between the 4th of July and the end of September is a very wild season because God's moving on the earth and evil's freaking. So
that's August. Go back to it. August 1st, 2nd,
into
and
the
3rd.
2nd and 3rd. That's exact. The 9th of Av. That's when the 9th of Av ties in with the first and second temple on the 2nd into the 3rd right there. So yeah.
Wow, there it is. All right. Well, let's.
And the first person
that
actually
says a lot to me, Bo. That says a lot to me right there because that's how they do things.
Yeah. Yeah, they're using. They know the 9th. See, God wrote the time, so they don't realize it's 666 days from the war. They're just picking the 9th of Av to do an event. See what I'm saying? And so this is how it all works out.
And
God,
of course, the name of their band is Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's the names. The name stuff is.
That's a huge sign. I'm gonna get Trader Girl back on Nino's Corner.tv, folks. So you don't want to miss that. She's coming on in I think tomorrow the next day. All right, next one. Still Justice Heard. That communist guy that wants to become mayor is not even a U.S. citizen. Trump was talking about deporting him. I've heard of I've been watching the chat and people are saying otherwise, but you all decide on that one. Thank you, Still Justice. Donna Jean Martovich, thank you so much. Wes Fontaine, remember, God is great. God is in control. We have nothing to fear. That's right, Wes. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Just remember, fear comes from the devil.
Debbie Clore, thank you so much. God's money. Thank you so much, Debbie.
Silver and gold. Days remaining, I believe. And quick reference about my book. Thank you for buying the book. I appreciate that. And the book, basically, the timelines I'm discussing, they're all in there, and they take you into the future. It's God has nothing here is random. Please, that's what we need to understand. If you're watching the news, you're listening. It's a lot of stuff is scary that's coming on but God's got this. Okay, this is God's plan, and this is the setup. Again, I can wrap it up here. This is the greatest setup for the greatest victory in human history. So Pharaoh thought he was going to kill Israel at the Red Sea. Remember that, okay? Pharaoh thought he was in control until the angel of death showed up, and then that morning he freed Israel. Pharaoh then tried to change his mind, and next thing you know, he's going to chase in the Red Sea. He's now going to kill Israel there, and again, he's a loser there. So this is a setup for the greatest victory in history.
All right, folks. Here we go. In what the
God
fuck news? In what the fuck news? Hold on, bro. You got to stick with me in this. Most U.S. exhibition execs think traditional moviegoers has less than 20 years left. So less than 20 years left, a viable business model, according to a new survey. More than 50% of exhibition executives polled in a new survey believe that the traditional cinema experience is in its last days and has less than 20 years to go. So if you like to go to, it's just like I'm here in Ruidoso, New Mexico right now, and I saw a blockbuster retail area, commercial center, right? And it's called Blockbuster commercial area, whatever it was. But obviously there used to be a Blockbuster in there. They're no longer around. I think movie theaters are no longer going to be around. I mean, what does the future look like to you? What do you think, Bo? I mean, I think people are going to be walking around with headsets and chips in their brains, and it's going to be a place that me personally, I don't want any part of.
Okay, so by the end of this, in the next 12 months, okay, the sporting events, football games, baseball games, soccer venues, all those are going to collapse.
I think people are going to be. Let me just finish. Like virtual reality.
The reason it's going to collapse is because people are going to. There's going to be such a shaking in the world. People are going to come to realize that everything they've been doing is basically, it's like Rome. When there's craziness, say, let's have some events in the amphitheater. So the sporting events are distractions, and the world's going to come to realize that when the truth comes out, all of this was distractions, and we're stepping into the multi-billion. The glory comes on the earth, and everyone's going to be the world as a majority is going to be waking up and chasing Jesus. And so the stadiums are going to turn into revival centers. Okay, your theater, which not only revival but the glory centers, because the glory is going to come upon these people with miracle healings, arms growing back, legs growing back, vision restored, wheelchairs people getting out of wheelchairs. Everything. This is what's going to happen. Yeah, Bo's crazy. Absolutely, because my God does impossible things. But these impossible things wake people up. So signs, miracles, and wonders are coming, and the theaters are going to collapse with regards to all of this crazy stuff they're doing, and the theaters will be revived under a new venue, and they will be 90, 70, 80, 90% of movies coming out of Hollywood will be all Jesus-based. That is what God's about to do on this earth. All glory to God, and it's coming. So everything you think is about to happen, it's going to be the next 7 years are going to be mind-blowing with incredible things, all to glorify God. That's what's coming.
Thank you, Beverly Adams. I see the super sticker right there. Thank you so much. Bo, with that being said, thank you for coming on. I always enjoy our talks. Folks, you make up your own mind. I'll let my audience decide. And get to ninoscorner.tv, folks. And with that being said, I'm signing out because I can tell the maids want to come in my room because they think I need more players. All right, folks, I'm out of here.
God bless everybody. Thank you.
Peace. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting, baby. Yeah. Later.